this episode of Books Moo bought when she was 17. What's up, guys? My name is Moo. I am a college student who loves reading, and I'm here to share that love with all of you. So, one thing that I still can very confidently say is I love a fairy tale retelling. When I was in elementary school, I would check out as many versions of like Cinderella as I could from different cultures, and I would read as many as I could. I think that translates pretty well to who I am still now, as it's my goal to read a book from each culture. I love exploring different cultures through reading, and that was just one way I did that. I combined two of my interests, fairy tale retellings and exploring different cultures, and I put it into one through reading Cinderella from many different cultures. Now, The Bone Spindle by Leslie Vedder is not exploring a different culture. It is a fantasy retelling of Sleeping Beauty. However, I thought that it was really cute. I thought that it was really fun. I am so mad it's a trilogy because I am over series, which is like I think a pretty hot take for book content creation spaces, but I'm not a series girly. I really am not. So finishing this book and realizing that I have to read 2 more to get the resolution, but it is okay. I thought this book was quite cute. I am excited to share it with you. It definitely is falling under the one, I bought it when I was 17, and 2, it's definitely written in the young adult genre, which I spoke about in my last book, unfortunately starting to fall out of love with the young adult genre. However, I still thought it was really cute, and I'm excited to share it with you. Like always, let's start with the summary. Some curses are meant to be broken. Vi is a bookish treasure hunter with a knack for ruins and riddles who definitely doesn't believe in true love. Shane is a tough as dirt warrior who likes cracking skulls, pretty girls, and doing things her own way. Briar Rose is a prince under a sleeping curse who's been waiting 100 years for the kiss that will wake him. Cursed princes are nothing but ancient history to Vi, until she pricks her finger on a bone spindle while exploring a long-lost ruin. Now she's stuck with the spirit of Briar Rose until she and Shane can break the century-old curse on his kingdom. Dark magic, witch hunters, and bad exes all stand in her way, not to mention a mysterious witch who might wind up stealing Shane's heart along with whatever else she's after. But nothing scares Vi more than the possibility of falling in love with Briar Rose. Set in a lush world inspired by beloved fairy tales, The Bone Spindle is a fast-paced fantasy full of adventure, romance, found family, and snark. So this book was published in 2021, but it actually has a lot of very similar elements to what I feel like was in a lot of books in the early 2010s. However, I think that as we have evolved as a people in the last 10-15 years, so too has our books. So, like the summary suggests, this book follows Vi and Shane. Now, this book is very much marketed as an LGBTQ story. It follows 2 characters, Vi and Shane. However, Vi is very much the focal point of this book, and she is straight, and Briar Rose is also a straight man. So that honestly was very surprising for me, because I fully went into this believing that this would be like a queer romance, and honestly at first, like, if you look at the cover, it looks like it should be the 2 of them. But that's not what I was meant with. Granted, there's 2 more books in the series based on the cover of, I think, the 3rd one. It's going to be a lot more in that wheelhouse in later books, and I'm sure that's how it's going to be. But this book was really heavily marketed on like any of the websites and articles that I looked at as like an LGBTQ book. But that was just surprising to me because the main focal romance was on a man and a woman. Either way though, even though the characters were very much like tropey and the beats of the story were quite predictable, I still really enjoyed this book, you know? Like, I don't think it's a bad thing to be tropey and predictable. I also think that there were elements of this story that were quite unique to the bone spindle specifically, which I will get into, but for now we can talk first just about a loose summary of the book, enough to interest anyone that might be into this kind of book, but not so much that I'm giving away spoilers. And keep in mind that I don't know everything yet about the story. I'm only a third of the way through the story, so I will just give you a quick summary so that if you are interested, you can check it out for yourself. So the book follows two people, a treasure hunter named Fi and a ex-princess who was supposed to be the war king for a country but ran away because she did not want to be the heir to the throne, named Shane, who is a battle princess basically, but she gave that up to be a treasure hunter, to be a combatant. She goes along with treasure hunters to get riches. She isn't exactly the one that is like figuring out the maps and the ruins and the puzzles that need to be solved. That is Fi's job. So the book starts with Fi and Shane deciding to pair up for just this one mission. Shane can get all the gold she desires, and Fi can get some books and artifacts that are incredibly fascinating to her. However, during this expedition, Fi accidentally pricks her finger on the spindle, the same spindle that put Briar Rose, the prince, to sleep, and that is where he is to this day, in the ruined kingdom of Andar, in the country next to where Fi and Shane live. And it is now Fi's responsibility to break the curse. However, Fi is under her own mysterious curse. Again, I will not spoil it for you because I think that if this does sound interesting to you, it is a book worth reading. But Fi has a butterfly curse on her hand that, long story short, has ruined her life. She's already dealing with her own stuff. She's like, I can't even break my own curse. Why do I have to go help this prince break his curse? And on top of that, Fi was betrayed by her previous lover, so she's like, I don't want to kiss a prince and like it all be a happy ending and I'm falling in love and da 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 da. I don't believe in that love stuff anymore. I'm so sick of it. So again, very tropey, but not in a bad way. But long story short, she gets convinced to go, and through magic, through light magic, which is Briar Rose's specialty, he is able to appear to Fi in a dream-light sort of form where the sleeping Briar Rose does retain all of this memory, all of this information, but his physical body is in the tower in Andar, while his light dream form is talking to Fi and being like, you don't believe in destiny? I bet you could fall in love with me, da 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 da. Which, you know, another trope, but we love it. Briar Rose, guys, I love to read my books with attractive characters. However, the problem for me is Briar Rose is blonde. I bring you over to this image. I agree with this image. Jokes aside, there's a joke that a lot of me and my housemates have right now that are like, how are like adult men blonde? Like, how are you gonna be an adult man and blonde? Like, that's so silly, da 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 da. And it's just a joke that we have. We're not like actually haters, but you know, it's just like fun to make little jokey jokes, right? So I say this and I am sad, which is like really funny because when I was a kid, like I always favored like blonde princes. Maybe it was because I was pretty blonde as a kid. My hair has darkened since then. It's a lot more red, but I don't know, like my tastes have changed, I suppose, except for Jimin. Jimin is naturally blonde, so you know, gotta respect it. We're getting so off topic. I just was trying to explain Briar Rose. Briar Rose just gives kind of like tall, lanky, like anime character to me. I wonder if I can find like some sort of like blonde anime prince and like put him here and be like, this is kind of what he looks like to me. Because like that's just kind of what I was seeing in my head, which is weird because like none of the other characters like gave anime, and I don't watch anime, so I don't really know where that came from. Like I don't really interact with that art style very much, but that's just like how he appeared to me in the story. So along this journey that Fi decides she must go on, and Shane decides to tag along because she feels like Fi should not do this alone, they encounter a witch, and she is named Red. Now, witches are not exclusively evil in this world, so Red is not exclusively evil or anything like that. However, in the kingdom that Fi and Shane live in, witches are outlawed, so there are plenty of witch hunters going after people like Red. Now, Shane, as mentioned in the summary, which I think it's so funny. Yeah, Shane likes pretty girls. Like, whoa, that's revolutionary. Like, and good for her. I'm just saying, like, pretty girls as opposed to what? Like, newsflash, like, people tend to like people that they're attracted to. Like, sorry, I think I'm being too harsh, whatever. Shane sees this very beautiful witch and is just like, damn, DB, down bad. And good for her, whatever. But Red is very hard to get. She's very witty, she's very intelligent, she is very feminine, and Shane really likes that about her, and they just keep meeting by chance, and Shane is just like, well, if you meet 3 times by chance, it feels like destiny. But that scares Red, and Red is like, yeah, I don't know about that. So again, that's a little more ambiguous. That plotline is not very touched upon in this book compared to Fi and Briar Rose. While that whole thing was happening, and while they're going along the journey to get to the Andar Tower to wake Briar Rose from his curse and wake the entire kingdom, Briar Rose is like, I bet I can make you fall in love with me, and Fi is like, absolutely not, I don't believe in love, and Briar Rose is just like, well, I'm gonna try anyways. And that's just kind of a whole through line through all of that. Alas, I didn't have any moments in the book that made me go, and that's how you know, like, it's a really good romance, is when the book makes me go, because that's what happens when I think a romance is like really cute, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it's got me right there, it's got me right there. I unfortunately did not feel that in this book. However, I will keep you updated if that happens in the books to come. But part of that reason is just that Fi is very unreceptive to it. She does not believe in love. She does not believe in destiny. She doesn't really want a piece of this. However, her heart slowly softens, and by the end of it, she's starting to have more feelings for Briar than she wants. So that's basically the premise of this book. I don't want to give spoilers. I don't want to tell you what happens in the end, because I do think that, again, if you're interested in this book, it's worth reading, but that's basically the summary that I'll give you for this book. As I said though, this book is quite tropey, and I don't mean that as really a negative thing. I don't necessarily mean it as a positive thing. I just mean it as a neutral thing. It still made an enjoyable read. Tropes are tropes for a reason. They're tropes because people like them, so people continue to write them as well as consume them. And I think that this was very tropey. Like, I will say, I do feel like every character was sort of a caricature in itself. It's just like, Fi is the closed off treasure hunter who doesn't believe in destiny and is witty and talented, and also she's not like other girls, but not in a way that's just like, I'm not like other girls. Like, I think that I'm better than you because I'm not like other girls. It was more approached in a way of like, she didn't understand why people were the way they are, and because she was different from them, it was a little bit difficult for her, and she's just like, sometimes not fitting in is really difficult, but sometimes not fitting in is a good thing. And like, that was fine, but when I started reading it, I was just like, oh, she's not like other girls. But, that was resolved, that was fine. But then you have Shane, who's the rough and tumble tomboy who wields an axe and likes pretty girls, and like, and then you have Red, who is the feminine lesbian that the more masculine lesbian falls for, and it's just like, ooh, like, she's super sweet and seductive and witty and calculated and da-da-da. And then you have Briar Rose, who's just like, tell me why every blonde man in a young adult fiction book is so down bad. I'm probably wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments. Tell me if there's someone who doesn't fit this narrative, but like, tell me why every blonde man is like down bad. You got down bad blonde man who wants the heart of the standoffish, like doesn't want true love girl, and he's just like, damn, I'm kind of whipped for this girl. Tell me if I'm wrong. So you got Briar Rose, you got Max and Sharif from The Selection, you got Peeta from The Hunger Games. Like, I see a pattern. Tell me if I'm wrong in the comments, guys. Like, I see a pattern. If I'm right, comment down below to prove that I'm right. But all of this is to say it is a very tropey book. I'm not reading this book for its originality, but I do think that it is a very interesting concept, and even though this isn't really my top genre, like, I will be so real, like, I hate A Journey. I was like kind of bored of this book until there was a pivotal scene where Briar and Fi started like getting closer, and then I was just like, okay, maybe I'm into it. But I've just learned in the past year, I hate A Journey. I don't like watching characters walk from point A to point B. I don't think I would enjoy Lord of the Rings much, if I'm being honest. I'm not the biggest fantasy girly, and when I am into fantasy, it's like, oh, princess and princesses, instead of like Dungeons and Dragons, which, you know, reference for my sister who does watch my videos. So it's not my top genre, but it is compelling enough for me to want to keep reading, and I'm excited to see where it goes. I am definitely really excited to see where the relationship of Shane and Red goes, because since it was marketed as a queer romance book, as well as like fantasy and young adult fantasy and that kind of thing, I do want to see more of that, because I do feel like queer representation, especially women love women representation, is so few and far between. And like, listen, I'm a straight girly pop, but I love to watch romance across the board, and I would love to see more of where this relationship develops and where it goes. So I will update you on that. I'm going to save my recommendations for the next video I make of the next 2 books. I'll probably just do the next 2 books in one video. But yeah, that's all I have for today. If you liked this video, please like it. Comment down below your favorite storybook retelling. And if you like videos like this, subscribe. I have a whole series called Books That Moo Bought When She Was 17 that you can watch right here. So I think it's fun to review these books, but let me know in the comments. So I'm gonna leave it here without further ado. This has been Moo. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye!